What's going on? Super Nintendo here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we got an interview with 13 AM Games CEO, right? Uh, Alex Rushke.
Yep,
How's it going?
not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I didn't just bring you on here for just to catch up, but I mean, it's great to talk to you. But the fact that you got a game that not only came out yesterday on Stadia, but it's coming out on everything else later this month, which is Dawn of the Monsters.
Yeah, absolutely. We're pretty excited so far about the response.
Yeah, it's developed by you 13 AM Games, right? And then published by um WayForward.
Yeah.
But so before we get into that, let's go back to 13 AM Games, like when you started. What was your goal when starting the company?
So, it's funny because we started 13M Games while like the founders were all in school together in Toronto at George Brown College,
Oh, okay.
and we had worked on a little prototype of Rumbo, and it was so well received that we decided, you know what, let's just once we've all graduated, why don't we incorporate, finish Rumbo, like get some government funding, finish Rumbo, and then release it and just at least have a game on our resumes, right? So we could all go get real jobs.
Right.
And what happened was the game, Nintendo got really excited about the game and we launched it on Wii U, and it did well enough that we actually looked and we're like, oh, we can just keep making games. So that was pretty cool. And from there, we worked on DLC for Rumbo. We brought it to a bunch of different platforms. We published a game called Pirate Pop Plus.
Yes.
We made Double Cross, and then shortly after we finished Double Cross, we started work on Dawn of the Monsters.
Yeah, Dawn of the Monsters. I had saw a interview you did recently, and you said you had worked with Way Forward and helped them with another game. I was just
Mm-hmm.
wondering what game was that, or can you not say?
I can't say because it's not released, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, we were
Right.
working as a support studio on that, and we had a great time working with them. And then even before that, when we brought Shantae into Rumbo back in 2016 or something.
Yeah, how does
Um,
something like that work? Do you just reach out and be like, "We love Shantae. We'd love to have her in our game."
yeah, honestly, that's how a lot of those came together. Was either we reached out, or we had someone introduce us, or we met at like a party or at like an event, and we met some of the Way Forward people for the first time at IndieCade 2014. So we were just showing off our games next to each other, and we grabbed burgers together and started talking, and eventually we decided to collaborate and bring Shantae to Rumbo.
That's awesome. That just comes up, either meeting, which could be something that you might not get as much these days with events being all digital.
Yeah, that makes me sad. There's not as much impromptu meeting, but hopefully we'll get back to that point at some point.
Yeah, hopefully. But when you made Rumbo, like how long after it came out did you realize, oh, or like while you were in development, were you like, we got something here, or was it not until after it released?
I think it was kind of a slow build. Like the very first prototype for Rumbo, we ended up. You can still download this very first prototype. We left it online on the I think it's the Global Game Jam website or TO Jam website. I don't remember, but we made it at a game jam. So it was a 48-hour event to make a game. We made Rumbo, and the response to the event was really good, and that gave us encouragement to keep working on it. And then it ended up winning a student showcase, winning the design award. And we were like, okay, maybe there's something going on here. And then a guy named Mark Rabbo, he saw the game at the event, and he was like, you guys should release this. Like, he really encouraged us to apply for funding, finish it, and release it. But I think the moment where that kind of galvanized us as a team was we built a prototype and we sent it to Nintendo, and the people at Nintendo got really excited, especially Alex Palomares, who's on their third-party team. He was just like, guys, this game is great. You got it. You have to finish it. You have to come down to California and show it off. I think that really lifted our spirits and encouraged us to take the game to completion. Because when Nintendo tells you that your platform game is good, then you kind of are like, oh, they know a thing or two about platformers.
Right.
They kind of invented it.
Yeah. So then were you still in school at the time? Were you guys still in school?
Yeah, we were still in school until that was in 2014. We finished school in August of 2014, and what George Brown did for us is they actually gave us office space for a year for free. He said, hey, you can just keep working here at George Brown and build your business. So we all graduated, and then we kept working in the George Brown office space. And then shortly after that, about a year after that, we got our own office space and kept on going.
That's awesome. And when you were making that game, um, it's awesome that Nintendo is like, hey, we really like this. We think you have something. You should keep going. But did you, at any time, were you concerned that at the fact that the Wii U wasn't doing as well as any of the other platforms?
There was some concern for that. But the thing about the Wii U and Rumbo is that Rumbo was really built for the Wii U. Like, I do believe that of all the consoles we chose to launch on, the Wii U was the best bet. I think if it had launched on PlayStation, it wouldn't have done as well as it did. If it had launched on Xbox, it wouldn't have done as well as it did. Just because that colorful, frantic platformer party game kind of fit the Nintendo audience really well. And the other thing was on the Wii U, even though obviously there weren't a lot of people buying Wii U's, but those who had them, they likely already had a Wii, which means they likely already had multiple controllers. And a big feature for us, for Rumbo, is you can play with up to 9 people. So, and even if you have a Wii Remote and Nunchuck, you can share the Wii Remote and Nunchuck and have 2 people play. So I think it was a bit of a ideal situation in that respect. And it worked out. And based on how well it did on the Wii U, I mean, Microsoft came knocking on our door shortly afterwards and said, hey, we want this on Xbox, and we're willing to pay for it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And then eventually it also came not only to like Xbox, multiple platforms. You had a mobile version too, I believe, and it also came to the 3DS as well. Did you, the 13 AM games make that port, or did somebody else
Yeah.
port that? Oh, you made all of those?
The only ones that we didn't make directly were the PS4 and Switch versions. Those were handled by a publisher that wanted to bring it to those platforms because we were busy with Pirate Pop and Double Cross. So, but I mean, the 3DS version we did ourselves. We didn't end up making any mobile version, but the 3DS version was quite a challenge because the 3DS doesn't have a lot of power compared to the Wii U, so it took a lot of work, but it was cool to finally see that happen.
Yeah, and I think that one was that 2 or 4 player, the final version on the 3DS.
It capped out at 4 players, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then after that, like, how did you decide, okay, after instead of doing Rumbo 2, let's make Double Cross?
So after that, we kind of wanted to do something different. Um, we wanted to do a Rumbo 2, but we wanted to do Rumbo 2 in a bigger way. We wanted to partner with a publisher, and we wanted to get a lot more funding to make it a really big online focused game. That so like we Rumbo made good money, but it didn't make enough for us to kind of realize the vision that we wanted for the game.
Right.
So what we ended up doing, because we couldn't get a publisher to sign on to it, we ended up looking at, okay, well, let's make something totally unique. And we came up with some ideas based on unique mechanics. We came up with that kind of grapple hook mechanic. And yeah, I mean, eventually we were able to find a publisher that wanted to sign on with Graffiti Games. And, we were able to finish the game and get it out there.
That's awesome. Um, and then you did the Double Cross, and then yeah, like you said, you published. Did you also help with any of the development of the Pirate Pop? I'm sorry, what was the name? The Pirate Pop?
Pirate Pop Plus.
Yeah, Pirate Pop Plus. Did you help with any of that development, or was it just publishing? And how was publishing different than developing?
We helped a bit with the development, a couple of small assets, and porting to Wii U, 3DS, and Switch. But most of the duties were in publishing. And I mean, it was interesting. Publishing is an interesting, um, I guess, job.
Right.
It was a lot. It was a learning experience for us, um, and I think that it's a lot more work than maybe we had expected. But we learned a lot about how to publish a game, how to put it out on multiple platforms at once, all that kind of stuff. And it was really cool. We were just excited about the game to be able to get it out there. And I don't know if we'll ever go back to publishing, um, just because as cool as it is, I think we prefer putting that energy into our own new games, making new stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who can say?
Yeah. So you'd rather find like a publisher for your own games too rather than self-publish? 'Cause
Depending on the game, yeah.
yeah. But now we're at Dawn of the Monsters, and how did that game come to life?
So we had actually created a very early prototype of Dawn of the Monsters back in, I want to say, like 2016, and at that point it was a fighting game. And we took that around and we were trying to get a publisher to sign that. And the feedback that we had gotten was that the game looks really cool. They were excited about it, but they were worried about creating a fighting game. It's a very competitive genre. We hadn't shipped a fighting game before, all that kind of stuff. People were afraid that, like, oh, like we're competing with Tekken and Street Fighter. So, that's why you don't see a lot of new fighting games. Is publishers aren't very, they're pretty risk averse,
Yeah.
especially with fighting games. They're just basically, unless it's Injustice or Mortal Kombat or Tekken, like unless it's an established franchise, they're not really interested. It's hard to get new fighting games made. Uh, but after we finished Double Cross, we were looking for what to do next, especially to apply for deadlines for government grants to like start prototypes and stuff. And we looked at that game and we went, like this is a really cool idea and a cool world that we were building, but wouldn't it be more fun as a cooperative game? You know, like it kind of just dawned on us that, I mean, pardon the pun, that like people love giant monsters. Giant monsters are really cool, and beat 'em ups are really cool. People love beat 'em ups, like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. Why has no one put these two things together? It's like chocolate and peanut butter. It makes a lot of sense to us. So we went ahead with that idea, and we started pitching that around, and we came up with a very unique art style to match it because we wanted to do something different than existing kaiju video games. We didn't want it to just be what you would expect. We wanted it to be something interesting enough that even if you're not that into kaiju, you'd consider picking up the game because it looks really unique or has really cool mechanics. So we came up with this comic book manga art style, and we showed it to a bunch of publishers that were very interested. And what happened was I was at E3, and we were working with WayForward at the time, and they were thinking about what to have us work on next. And they had a bunch of ideas of projects that we could move on to. And I was just like, hey, we can do that, but I wanted to show you guys what we're working on. And I showed them Dawn of the Monsters, and they were almost immediately like, whoa, we want you to work on this. So we were like, hey, we're happy to work with WayForward. We really like working with WayForward. They're a really cool company, and they have a similar like game design style to us. So right away we were like, yeah, let's work on this together. Let's collaborate on Dawn of the Monsters, and that was in 2019, and then things got rolling.
Okay. And your team is it still a small team, 13 AM Games?
Yeah, we're 11 people right now. I mean, we were 12 for most of Dawn. We do have that fluctuated a bit. Like we had other contractors like sound guys and music people and that kind of stuff. But we've the biggest our studio has ever been at one time is 13 people. Um, and I don't think we would ever want to grow much past 15 or maybe 18 people at a peak. So
Oh, all
still
right.
pretty small.
Yeah. And then are you guys working in the studio or remotely?
We're all remote. We've been working remote since I guess March or April 2020. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then is there, I guess, so it's all local multiplayer, and it came out first on Stadia yesterday, and now it's coming out later this month on um, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Switch, right?
Yep.
And then, is it the question, I'm sure is on everyone's mind is, will this be Steam Deck compatible?
We need to get our hands on a Steam Deck to verify it, but our tech guy, one of our tech guys, ran a test to see if it could work on like Linux. Um, and it seems like it should be compatible. There shouldn't be
Oh,
any
okay.
issues at all.
Yeah.
But we'd like to get our hands on a unit because I think we need to have our hands on a unit to be able to like verify. I think there's a little check mark.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it should work fine on Steam Deck.
All right. And then now that you are working with WayForward, they're publishing this game. Are you does is there any chance we're going to get Shantae as a character in Dawn of the Monsters?
I don't think so. I mean, who knows? She's probably a little too tiny. She'd be hard to see
Yeah.
against Megadon's.
Well, she could grow into
She might be
that
the size of his toenail.
gorilla that she turns into in the game. Um
Yeah, or maybe she could pilot a Shantae mech. You can pitch that idea to Matt Bozon, see what he thinks.
okay, yeah. That sounds like a great idea. But yeah, so Dawn of the Monster, is there anything else you want everyone to know about Dawn of the Monsters?
Uh, we've got a Discord, 13am Games Discord. We've got a Twitter account at 13am Games. We're on Facebook, so come on by, follow us, join the community. People are pretty excited about this game. They're chatting about it. They're sharing combos and strategies, even this early on when it's just a Stadia release. And this Friday, I don't know when this is going to come out, but on Friday, the 4th of March, the limited run games edition of the game is going to be going up for pre-order. So it's an open pre-order until April 3rd. And it's a really cool package that we've put together where the collector's edition has a big, like a box art from Yuji Kaida, who's a very famous Godzilla artist. It's got toys, like little minifigures of each of the main characters, the 4 playable characters. It's got soundtrack CD and trading cards and a poster set. It's pretty slick, and the collector's edition comes with a digital download code, so you can buy it and then you can download it to whatever platform you want. You don't have to wait like 6 months to play the game.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's I hope you're excited about the game, and if you are, come share that excitement with us. Love to hear it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I will link to all that in the description below. But thanks for stopping by and thanks for talking to me about not only Dawn of the Monsters, but 13 AM games.